The state of our state grows stronger every day.
Governor Laura Kelly urges cooperation in her State of the State address, what she said and how lawmakers are reacting. Plus, an update on tonight's steps forward in the impeachment process. And the Chiefs share what they learned from last year's stumbles in the AFC title game. Good evening, I'm Melissa Bruner.
And I'm Ralph Hipp. Welcome in here to 13 News at 10. Whether it was kids and teens heading to school this morning or lawmakers leaving the Capitol building tonight, it has been cold out there.
And we could see some more travel troubles before we end the week. Peyton Sanders is in your First Alert Weather Center to give us a look at icy conditions ahead.
Yeah, another round of wintry weather heading our way for the end of the week. But for tomorrow, no concern for snow or ice. You just have to focus on the cold. Definitely need to dress in layers as you're leaving the house in the morning with wind chills in the single digits to below zero. And not much relief during the afternoon with wind chills still in the teens and 20s. But look at Friday morning, 7:30. Yeah, a wintry mess heading our way. A mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain, likely leading to slick conditions. All the latest hour-by-hour timing and a look at how much snow and ice we can expect in your First Alert forecast coming up.
All right, Peyton, thank you very much. Governor Laura Kelly launching her second year in office with her State of the State message to lawmakers tonight and an invitation for them to help make it a soaring 20s for Kansas. Quoting news reports proclaiming Kansas as the comeback state of 2019, Governor Kelly still reported on two fragile spots in the economy. She says her Labor Department is taking an all-hands-on-deck approach to helping Wichita families that are hurt by the massive layoffs at Spirit Aerosystems.
As a major Boeing supplier, Spirit Aerosystems was hit hard by the recent suspension of the 737 MAX production. Even as we speak, thousands of Wichita families are suddenly fearful that soon they may be unable to provide for their families.
Adding that Kansas won't wait for Washington, she urged federal lawmakers to approve the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade deal, boosting exports of Kansas farm products.
And we cannot compete in a global economy without strong international trading partners. We must breathe new life into our efforts to increase exports and compel international companies to choose Kansas.
And said this has to be the year legislators make Kansas the 37th state to expand Medicaid.
After weeks of tough negotiation and lots of give and take, we developed a proposal that will not only expand health care to 150,000 Kansans, but also has the potential to lower health insurance premiums in the marketplace.
Repeating a rallying cry to close the bank of KDOT, the governor explained the importance of mapping out a 10-year-long transportation plan.
It is the means by which our school buses safely transport our most precious cargo. It's how we ensure Kansans' daily commutes are faster and safer so they can spend more time with their families. It means jobs. Thousands of jobs.
And now it's on to Thursday when she and her staffers will roll out a balanced budget, still trimming food and property taxes on Kansans. Governor Kelly also drew a brisk round of applause early on in announcing the first-time milestone that women are at the helm of all three branches of Kansas government right now. Most lawmakers have been giving positive early reviews to the governor's message. 13's Isaac French now continues our team coverage with some of their thoughts about the State of the State address.
While some lawmakers disagreed on certain topics, most all of them did disagree that it is time for our state of Kansas to move forward. Governor Laura Kelly addressed both Republicans and Democrats in what most say was a satisfying speech.
She did a good job. She was very inclusive.
I think it was a great speech.
I like some of it. Some of it, I don't know what periodical she was reading out of because that data wasn't what I read.
Kelly's key points focused on working together to further rebuild the state.
She wants to work with both sides of the aisle to move this state forward.
Much better financial condition, so we can look at expanding Medicaid. We can look at some tax relief for Kansans.
Many lawmakers agreed with Kelly on Medicaid expansion.
I think she laid out a pretty clear vision of what we need to do in the 2020 session, and I'm looking forward to working with the Senate Republican leadership to pass Medicaid expansion once and for all.
and Republicans are ready to work with her on a new budget plan.
Did she express the willingness to want to cut the food sales tax? We tried last year a couple of times. Unfortunately, she vetoed them last year. I'm glad she kind of changed her tune this year, and that's something that we look forward to working on her with.
The governor's budget will be released tomorrow morning in a joint meeting of the House and Senate budget committees.
We will update what comes from that. Thanks so much, Isaac. In the nation's capital, House impeachment managers delivered the 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump to the Senate tonight. The Senate will receive them tomorrow and swear in senators as jurors. Natalie Brand has the update from Capitol Hill.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made history Wednesday as she signed a resolution sending 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump to the Senate. House impeachment managers ceremoniously carried the documents across the Capitol to the Senate chamber where the trial will be held.
The message will be received.
We've officially invited the House managers to come to the Senate tomorrow at noon to exhibit their articles of impeachment.
Earlier, the House voted largely along party lines to transmit the articles and approve 7 Democrats as impeachment managers who will serve as prosecutors in the trial. They include House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff, Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler, and Colorado freshman Jason Crow.
It is really important that we divorce politics from this process.
Chief Justice of the Supreme Court John Roberts, who will preside over the trial, will swear in senators as jurors on Thursday. The trial is set to begin in earnest early next week.
I could use some good lawyers, right? Yeah, to hell with it. I just have to suffer through it the way I have all my life.
The president's defense team is expected to be led by White House counsel Pat Cipollone. House Democrats this week released what they call new evidence for their case from Lev Parnas, an associate of President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. Wednesday, Parnas appeared in a TV interview.
President Trump knew exactly what was going on. He was aware of all of my movements. I wouldn't do anything without the consent of Rudy Giuliani or the president.
The president has denied knowing Parnas. Adam Schiff released new records from Parnas, including a text message exchange about surveilling Maria Yovanovitch, who was later recalled as U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. Parnas faces charges in a separate campaign finance case. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The articles accuse President Trump of seeking assistance from Ukraine in the upcoming 2020 election and trying to hide his actions. The president has denied those charges. We have an update tonight to a story out of Wichita. A 9-month-old girl who police say was seriously injured earlier this week by her mother's boyfriend has died. 25-year-old Brayton Rader was charged Tuesday with 2 counts of child abuse and 2 drug charges. He's now charged with first-degree murder. Police responded Friday to reports of a child not breathing. They found Mela Flores critically injured and a marijuana growing operation. Investigators determined the girl's injuries happened while Rader was caring for her. 2 other children, ages 6 and 12, were not hurt, but they are now in protective custody.
And back to Topeka, where a Topeka man has been bound over for trial in a home invasion shootout, leaving 2 people dead. Testimony at a preliminary hearing today for Larry Huggins, who's 19, also revealed some new details of last November's deaths of 15-year-old Owen Hughes and 21-year-old Reginald McKinney. Huggins is charged with first-degree murder in Hughes' death, plus there's aggravated robbery and aggravated burglary filed against him, too. A juvenile witness testified today that he and Hughes and another young person were at a house in the 2400 block of Southeast Maryland when 3 men dressed in black hoodies forced their way into the house and tried to rob them of marijuana, money, and 2 guns. The witness said Hughes had been backing up, saying, "Don't shoot," when the gunshots erupted. One of the robbers, later identified as McKinney, stumbled out of the home and collapsed in the front yard. Hughes was found lying near the front door. District Attorney Mike Kage says Huggins and McKinney had been working together and that Hughes shot Kinney in self-defense. Huggins goes on trial starting May 11th. Horton leaders say they're optimistic tonight the medical services are coming back to their small Kansas hometown. The bankruptcy court is set to finalize the sale tomorrow of the hospital to the Atchison Hospital Organization. That's the group that bid $270,000 for the property recently at the December 19th auction. Horton's hospital closed last March. It's been 10 months ago now. Their city administrator and Horton Police Chief John Calhoun is telling 13 News having medical services back in Horton will really have a good chance of saving lives in the town.
You know, being the law enforcement side of it, responded to some incidents, medical emergencies where I sure think having medical services right here locally in our community would have been helpful to those that had medical illnesses, medical emergencies.
John Calhoun also told us their town of 1,700 people lost 40 to 50 jobs due to the closure of the hospital.
A high school football standout is making a big move to the college ranks. We will catch up with him, and some new numbers show just how much the earth is heating up. Those stories are later tonight.
And on to Lori in just a moment, as first of all, right after the weather, we meet these two brothers hoping to ride in the hearts of their forever family.
You're watching 13 News at 10 with Melissa Bruner and Ralph Hipp. 13 News, Kansas News Leader. This is your First Alert weather forecast with Peyton Sanders.
Our next round of winter weather is set to move in Thursday night and then continuing as we move on into the day on Friday. We have a winter weather advisory for all of northeast Kansas. This starts at midnight early Friday morning and continues through noon on Friday. We're not so much concerned about snowfall as we are with ice. And you know, sometimes we can deal with snow, but really no one likes ice. That's the type of setup that we're looking at here with the storm heading our way. So likely widespread impacts with slick road conditions likely as we move on into Friday morning. The timing of it's going to be right during the commute. So that could lead to some cancellations of schools on Friday. Might be a shortened week. As far as power outages are concerned, the amount of ice that we're forecasting, really not enough for that, but it's really just the slick road conditions that we're worried about heading on into the day on Friday. All is quiet right now. Scattered clouds across the Central Plains tonight. We look at that storm system that will bring us the wintry weather moving across the Pacific Northwest coast tonight with scattered showers across Washington State into Oregon. Again, that's arriving early Friday, bringing that next round of some wintry weather. But for tomorrow, we are dry. Just have to focus on the cold conditions. Wind chill values tomorrow morning likely in the single digits. How about 3 degrees on the feels like temperature at 7 o'clock tomorrow, and staying cold even by the afternoon. Wind chills only climbing into the 20s. So we'll time out that wintry weather here hour by hour on Supercast. 6 o'clock tomorrow night, we are dry, a lot of clouds around. But watch what happens after we get past midnight. We start to see the wintry precipitation moving in. The blue will be a brief period of some snow, but the pink is sleet and freezing rain mix. So likely dealing with icy conditions. We'll stop things at 7:30 Friday morning as you're leaving the house for work. Want to give yourself plenty of extra travel time as widespread wintry precipitation is likely. And as our temperatures stay below freezing throughout the morning, we will continue with slick conditions as freezing rain continues to fall. But watch what happens as we get into the afternoon. You start to notice more shades of green showing up as our temperatures slowly climb just above freezing. We'll start to see improving conditions as we get later on into Friday afternoon. Then by the evening, we're likely above freezing, so we should start to see a break from the slick conditions heading on later into the day on Friday. So as far as how much ice we can expect, probably up to a tenth, maybe as high as a quarter-inch of ice accumulation for most areas. A little bit less to the northwest, but even a glaze around Marysville and Concordia is still enough to cause problems. And that's our main concern. We're not all that concerned about snow once again. Might get up to 1, maybe 2 inches of snow for areas near the Nebraska border. Farther south, we're thinking snowfall amounts generally less than 1 inch. So stay with us. We'll continue to track this storm system as it gets closer, and we'll have more forecast updates heading on into the day tomorrow. We have clear skies in Topeka tonight. Our Capital Federal Skycam 20 degrees. It feels like 6 this hour, and lows tonight falling back down into the single digits and teens for everyone with a mostly clear sky. High temperatures tomorrow likely below freezing for everyone, but we are dry, so no travel troubles throughout the day tomorrow. But again, slick conditions likely on Friday. Some good news though, just in time for the weekend. Sunshine returns. Road conditions will be just fine for both Saturday and Sunday. 37 Saturday, then turning colder for the second half of the weekend, but dry for the Chiefs game with 29 on Sunday.
There's your 8-day. We're right in the middle of this week, and our Wednesday's children this week are not twins, but you can definitely tell they're brothers. As tonight we meet Matthew and Alex, and as Lori Hutchinson tells you now at 10, we're hoping that their small family, this duo, can join a larger adoptive family.
Alex and Matthew are happy to ride bikes at Great Plain North in Topeka. Matthew in particular would like to have a BMX bike someday, but until then, these brothers are hooked on football. They both play.
I play football for 3 years now. I've been doing track. I love history. History is my favorite subject in school.
My favorite thing is PE. I play football for middle school.
Matthew is the oldest. He's 14 and a freshman in high school. Alex is just a year younger and in the 8th grade. They're in the same group home right now and say it's great to be together.
Living with Alex is like probably the best thing that's like ever happened to me. I get to have a younger brother to take care of.
It's all right. I'm not a big talker.
As they grow up, they're taking different roads. Matthew hopes to be either a history teacher or join the Army. Alex wants to play professional football. But no matter the finish line, they both want to be part of an adoptive family and finally have a place to call home.
Probably like people that live out on a farm with like animals, or like people that will let me and Alex do the sports that we want to. People who just like accept us for who we are, because it's what we really want.
With photojournalist Rick Felsberg, Lori Hutchinson, 13 News.
Well, to find out more about Matthew and Alex, or the other adoptive kids that we're talking about on Wednesday's Child, check that at Adopt Kansas Kids website. The number's right here on your screen. It's all brought to you by Wendy's every Wednesday night. Be sure to check out the website and the Facebook page, too. A lot of kids need forever families in 2020. They want to give a special thanks to Rick and Linda Ferrand over at Great Life for hosting our guys. They sure had a blast.
Thanks, Ralph. Looking like some nice young men. Actor and wrestler The Rock is mourning the loss of his pioneering father. We'll have that story for you. Plus, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame released the names of its 2020 inductees. See which of your favorites made the list.
You're watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
2019 was the second warmest year on Earth. A new report from NASA and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration finds it was 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit above average. The agencies also say the last 5 years were the 5 hottest on record. 2019 was only the 34th warmest year for the U.S., but Alaska did have its hottest year ever. It was the first time the state's annual temperature was above freezing, and it was also the second wettest year on record for the U.S. NOAA says 14 weather disasters hit the nation last year that caused $1 billion or more in damage. That includes the Midwest flooding. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame announced its 2020 inductees today. Whitney Houston, the Notorious B.I.G., Depeche Mode, the Doobie Brothers, 9 Inch Nails, and T-Rex will join this exclusive club. A band or performer cannot be nominated until 25 years after their first album is released. The 35th annual Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony is May 2nd in Cleveland, Ohio. It will be broadcast live on HBO. And WWE Hall of Famer Rocky Johnson, the father of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, died today. He was 75. Rocky Johnson spent most of his career in the National Wrestling Alliance, winning several championships and emerging as a tag team specialist. He joined WWE in 1983 and won a title with Tony Atlas. They became the first black tag team champions in WWE history. After retiring from competition, Johnson worked as a trainer. Most notably, he worked with his son, The Rock.
All right. Interesting to know all those things, and Melissa, thank you. Also on the way, one of our local football stars is signing to play Division I football, explaining his choice when we come back after the break. And you know warm little ones? Well, a local man who's making sure kids have been bundled up for years is passing the torch over to TPS.
13 Sports with Tyler Griever.
So one extremely slow start looked alarmingly easy for the Chiefs against the Texans. The offensive explosion of 51 points in 3 quarters confirms it's looking like last year's league-leading offense. But in last year's AFC title game, that offense really didn't look right to start. Remember, when Kansas City hosted New England last season, the Patriots blanked the Chiefs in that first half. Patrick Mahomes and company were shut out going into halftime, looking out of sorts before scoring 31 points in the second half to send the game to overtime. Now, obviously, everyone would like to avoid another slow start. With that experience now under his belt, here's Mahomes on how to avoid one.
Just trying to prepare for everything. I think that's a big thing. Last year, they caught us a little off guard with the coverages that they played at the beginning of the game, and we made adjustments and were able to score points later in the game. But you want to make sure that you're just preparing for everything. You know that this is a good defense.
Yeah, Tennessee forced the NFL's top offense in Baltimore last week into 3 turnovers. Let's stay with football, but go to some prep stars. WIBW running back Isaiah Childs welcomed people of all ages to his signing ceremony today. Childs is on his way to play football for Akron University. The former Manhattan High player did have an offer from Kansas State, among other schools, but he stuck with the Zips because he just felt right at home in Akron.
I just fell in love with the coaches and the coaching staff there at Akron University. I really felt like it was going to be the best opportunity to build my platform off of, and they had a good career field and one I wanted to go to in sports psychology. So I just fell in love with the school. It felt like a second home to me.
Well, Childs also used to play for Manhattan High before going to WIBW. Let's stay with the Prep Star theme. This week's Scholar Athlete of the Week is Gavin Carter from Washburn Rural High School. Carter is a star wrestler for the Junior Blues who has a GPA of 3.4. He's earned a scholarship to go wrestle in college at the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. Congrats to him. There he plans to major in social work. Let's move to hoops now. When KU first landed Isaiah Moss from Iowa as a transfer, he was seen as a bit of a missing piece, the shooter the Jayhawks really needed. And last night he looked like that guy at a time where KU needed him to. Remember, the Jayhawks were without star point guard Devon Dotson against Oklahoma. That meant Moss drew the start against the Sooners. He took advantage of the chance, dropping 20 points while tying a career high with 6 threes. Moss also shot 55% from deep. The senior transfer built some confidence by knocking down some shots early in the game.
That built momentum for me. Seeing the ball going early definitely helped as well. So, yeah, he was telling me to shoot, so I just kept shooting.
In order for us to be good offensively, we're going to have to play small a lot more probably moving forward if Isaiah continues to be a threat like that.
Well, that marked the second time Moss has scored at least 20 points this season. As for KU women's hoops, the team had a major challenge with second-ranked Baylor tonight. The Lady Bears were out the Jayhawks 90-47 over in Manhattan. The K-State women hosted Oklahoma State. Topeka native Peyton Williams dropped 25 points, but the Cats lose 70-63 to Emporia State. The Hornet men and women traveled out to Fort Hays State tonight for a conference doubleheader in a ranked matchup. The 15th-ranked Lady Hornets fall to the 13th-ranked Tigers 87-55. The ESU men suffer a similar fate, losing 56-46. That's going to do it for me here in sports. Let's go back over to the desk.
Very good, sir. Thank you, Tyler. Peyton Sanders is here. He's here on the night shift this week because Jeremy Goodwin is handling all the duties on the morning show and giving you the weather at 5 a.m. So that's why he's here at 10 p.m.
Everyone is invited tomorrow. Living the Dream Week activities continue with the annual march. They will gather at 11:45 on the south side of the State House, and the Drumline, Sal Cruz, and the Topeka High Kids, they will
be there.
Move you around to the north side where they'll go in for a program indoors. Cindy was on your show today, and she was very happy that at least the rain is going to hold off until Friday.
Yeah.
They can all bundle up against the cold and have a good time doing that and sharing the message. But rain puts a damper on it.
Travel-wise, we're good to go for tomorrow. Here's a check of our forecast for tonight. Low temperatures, single digits and teens. Mostly clear sky. Tomorrow looking at highs below freezing, mostly cloudy conditions. Again, dry tomorrow. Watch for that icy weather to move in on Friday, especially throughout the morning, likely dealing with widespread slick conditions and then drying out for the weekend. The latest timing and snow and ice forecasts are posted on the 13 Weather app.
Right, it's primarily Thursday and Saturday and Monday for the King Day events. And after about 30 years, the founder of Warm Little Ones, Jim Brewer, and the Coat Fund, he's decided to step down. With help from the community, Jim has long provided more than 15,000 coats to children in need around Kansas and in Oklahoma City, too.
He's decided it's time for him to retire again, step back. He's in his mid-70s now, so he's handed off responsibility to Topeka Public Schools, USD 501. Brewer says he's thankful for all the continued support. It will be run out of Ross Elementary, and donations to the Warm Little Ones Fund can be made directly to Ross Elementary School. They also accept new and gently used coats in addition to monetary donations.
Right. You'd mentioned the Red Cow Show, and the program's going to be run by Phil Schlingensiepen. And Phil is going to come and join us on the Red Couch Show Monday at 4 o'clock and talk about the big handover. Warm Little Ones will be running out of Ross Elementary.
Great program. Thanks to Jim for his efforts getting it all started. Thank you for being with us tonight. The Late Show is coming up next.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Jeremy Goodwin in the morning with the crew.
Get the latest news, weather, and sports at WIBW.com or follow WIBW on Twitter, Facebook, and our mobile app. Thank you for making 13 News the most watched evening newscast.